I've been on the bench a long time. Long enough to know that every case, no matter how small, carries a story with it. And some stories, well, some stories walk right into the courtroom and leave a trail of crayon wrappers, sippy cups, and laughter behind them. It was a rainy Thursday morning when she arrived. Her name was Samantha Lewis, and she brought back up not an attorney, not a paralegal, 5 children under the age of 8, 5. The courtroom door creaked open, and suddenly it wasn't just a traffic hearing anymore. It was a full-blown daycare field trip with one exhausted-looking mother at the helm. She carried a diaper bag over one shoulder, a toddler on the other, and trailed 4 kids, one of whom wore a plastic firefighter helmet, another dragging a half-open coloring book behind him. The entire courtroom turned to watch, and I smiled. "Miss Lewis," I said, "are these your legal advisors?" She laughed, winded and wide-eyed. "They're more like witnesses to my exhaustion." The courtroom chuckled. Even Inspector Quinn raised an eyebrow, clearly enjoying the show. Samantha's case was relatively straightforward. A speeding ticket. 37 in a 25 zone, clocked late at night near a school zone. It wasn't reckless, but it wasn't innocent either. She'd also missed her initial court date, not on purpose, but because, as she explained, one of the twins had a 102-degree fever and they'd been in urgent care all night. Her fine, with penalties, was now $125. For a working mom of 5, that wasn't just a nuisance. It was groceries, gas, maybe even rent. She stood at the podium, one child wrapped around her leg, another picking at the mic cord. "Your Honor," she began, "I'm not here to make excuses. I'm barely keeping things together. I work nights as a CNA, I have no one to watch them during the day. I brought them here because I couldn't leave them alone. I'm just asking for any kind of consideration you can give." And then, a small voice piped up beside her, "I can decide." The voice belonged to Alex, her 5-year-old and self-proclaimed superhero. He wore a t-shirt that said, "Here comes trouble," carried a toy gavel in his left hand, and had the unshakable confidence only a kindergartner can manage. "Did you say, can decide?" I asked. He nodded solemnly. "Yes, I'm the judge now." The courtroom rippled with laughter. Samantha looked like she wanted to vanish into the floor. "Do you want to sit in my chair?" I asked. His eyes lit up like the 4th of July. Moments later, Alex stood behind the bench, his tiny hands gripping the edge. Firefighter helmet askew, grinning at the room like he was the mayor of Providence. The gavel, my real one, looked like Thor's hammer in his little hands. "All rise," he said. I sat back and folded my hands. "Well then, Judge Alex, the floor is yours." Mommy was driving fast. Alex began clearly channeling every cartoon court show he'd ever seen. But only 'cause the baby was screaming, and it was dark, and she forgot her glasses and she made pancakes that morning. "Is that part of the defense?" I asked. "Yup," he turned to Samantha. "Mommy, did you make pancakes?" She nodded, trying not to laugh. "With chocolate chips?" "Yes." He looked at me. I find her nice. Another pause and not guilty. The gavel slammed down not very hard, but loud enough to earn applause from the back of the courtroom. I turned to Alex. That was a very compassionate ruling. What should we do instead of a fine? He thought for a moment, tapping the gavel against his helmet. "She has to give everyone a hug. That's 5 hugs, 1 for each kid, and maybe a nap." Samantha's eyes welled up. "If only you could enforce naps, Your Honor." The courtroom was still laughing when I stood up. "Well," I said, "this court respects the ruling of Judge Alex. The case is dismissed, and I'm ordering pancakes for everyone." Cheers broke out. I handed Alex a sticker that said, "Honorary Judge of the Day," and he strutted off like he'd just won a Grammy. After they left Samantha with 5 smiling kids and 1 enormous grin, I sat back and thought about how strange and wonderful this job really is. People come here expecting punishment, fear, cold bureaucracy, but sometimes, if you're lucky, what you get instead is a moment of unexpected joy. A courtroom transformed into a playground of empathy, a mother's burden lifted, even just for a day, and one kid, in a plastic firefighter helmet, reminded us all that sometimes justice doesn't need to be harsh to be effective. Sometimes, it just needs to be human.